Chapter 5. The Morgue. The central morgue in Sector 4 lay shrouded in silence, broken only by the ceaseless drone of refrigeration units. Chemical antiseptic thickened the frigid air, gripping the gleaming Dura-Steel slabs along the back wall like an invisible frost. Carver stood motionless in the deep shadows of the observation bay, hands tucked with calculated ease into the pockets of his flawless charcoal suit. His rigid stance and razor-edged features caught only the ghostly blue shimmer of a medical monitor. He didn't speak. He didn't pace. He simply waited. Behind him, blending seamlessly into the gloom, stood the 4 members of his tactical cleanup crew. They were fully armed, their polarized faceplates hiding any expression as they gripped sleek, silenced mag rifles. They hadn't moved a muscle since they breached the morgue's secondary loading dock 45 minutes ago. They were waiting for a ghost. Carver's jaw tightened, a cold, dangerous fury simmering just beneath his polished exterior. The events of the last few hours had been an unprecedented, infuriating disaster. The sanitization of loading dock 44B had proceeded flawlessly. The crushed synth and the rusted coupling had been destroyed. Then a man in a suit, almost indistinguishable from his own, had strode into the Sector 7 impound lot, wielded corporate authority like a weapon, and snatched the dead courier's freighter from beneath the dockmaster's oblivious gaze. It was a brazen, staggering security breach. Athelgard's network erupted, frantically chasing the stolen ship's transponder. They found nothing, except a raw, unencrypted comms transmission flaring out of Echelon Apex port. Finnick Crowe, the dead pilot's brother. The transmission crackled with desperation and grief, demanding that Leon Crowe's remains be released at once. It sounded like the wild, impulsive plea of a spacer who had just learned his brother was murdered and was ready to bolt from the system. It made perfect, predictable sense. Carver wasted no time. His tactical team swept into Sector 4, locking down the morgue, driving the night clerk into a terrified retreat and setting a deadly trap around Leon Crowe's refrigeration unit. When Finnick Crowe arrived to claim his brother, he would end up on a slab himself. The loose end would be cut, and the stolen freighter reclaimed from whatever landing pad the grieving spacer had chosen. Carver checked the chrono display on his wrist, the numbers glowing a faint, icy blue in the dark observation bay. 62 minutes had passed since the transmission. The silence in the morgue thickened, unyielding. The glass doors at the front stayed stubbornly closed. No screech of a taxi, no frantic fists on the clerk's security window. Carver's dark, violet-tinged eyes narrowed. The cold, calculating logic that had made him Athelgard's most effective fixer began to reevaluate the situation. A grieving brother didn't call the morgue, declare his imminent arrival, and then simply fail to show up. Not unless the transmission wasn't an act of desperate grief. Not unless the transmission was a broadcast. The realization hit Carver like a physical blow. The cold fury in his chest ignited into a blazing, white-hot rage. The spacer hadn't been arranging a desperate pickup. He had orchestrated a blaring distraction, luring Athelgard's deadliest operatives to a cul-de-sac in Sector 4 while he and the stolen freighter vanished through the atmospheric net. Carver slammed his fist violently against the reinforced plasteel window of the observation bay. The sharp, echoing crack made his tactical team jump, their mag rifles snapping up instinctively. "He's not coming!" Carver roared, his icy composure shattering as his voice ricocheted off sterile tiles. He whirled from the window, charcoal overcoat flaring behind him. "The transmission was a decoy! He's burning for the outer rim!" He stormed past his silent armored crew, yanking a secure comms unit from his pocket. "Contact orbital command," Carver snarled into the receiver, his eyes burning with absolute humiliated hatred. "Scrub every launch record from Apex Port in the last hour. Find out where that ship went, and dispatch a hunter-killer squadron. I want the Silly Goose and the Emerald turned into expanding clouds of plasma." He paused, his voice dropping back to a deadly, breathless whisper. "Correction. I want Finnick Crowe brought to me alive."